Yingying and Yugu, the newest centers for the 2.5-year anniversary. The half anniversaries are also known as the Chinese New Year events because they arrive with the Chinese New Year. These events and their corresponding centers are themed with Isia, a location in PT and universe that follows many traditional Asian themes. Ying and Yugu follow this vibe, introduce more Eastern themes into Paths to Nowhere. As far as gameplay mechanics go, these two are the forefront of the Magic, and more specifically, Arcana, crit team. Yingying allows all Arcanas to crit, and Yuko provides the crit chance, growing even stronger if there are 3 Arcanas on her team. This combination of crit-enabled Arcanas is very powerful, but it does constrain their available team compositions, making Yingying and Yugu almost as specialized as Weak Spot, Burn, or Bleed. It's a very specific comp. In BFL, the idea is simple. Throw Yingying, Yugu, and Jelena onto a team. Grab your favorite DPS Arcana, and then fill your third slot with support like Hecate or Raven. This setup will maximize the support capabilities from Yingying and Yugu, while Jelena provides 2 powerful targets for her raindrop. Now, we wait for a pivotal moment, usually the boss's core break, and turn on everyone's buffs. Once all the buffs are turned on, Yingying and your DPS of choice will start absolutely shredding every target who dares exist within range. This team is low on core break, so you might have to wiggle around your catalyst slot until you find something that works, but as long as you can break those cores and turn all your buffs on fast enough, Yingying and your DPS of choice will have unparalleled damage as those crits pop off again and again and again. Again, most of this crit chance is coming from Yugu, and most of the crit damage is coming from Jelena. So both of these units are paramount to the composition at large, and their buffs need to be closely monitored and activated at the right time. This is currently the best thing you can be doing in magical damage compositions. It's not even close. Once we get to other game modes like Story, Mania Training, and ROTD, the team performs equally well. Yingying has so much presence on the battlefield, and your supportive buffs can be turned on at any time. At the flick of a wrist, you can really turn up the heat and quickly eliminate anything on your screen. Waves are easily handled with Yingying's ultimate always being active, and your other 2 Arcanas are there to clean up whatever makes it through. It's a really nice balance where your team with heavy, permanent, and effective area control can at any point decide to turn on their buffs and wipe the board clean. Yingying in particular does not need much help, especially in early story. This one unit is often enough. Yingying is made for these long extended waves and applies so much control and so much damage over such a large area that she can really trivialize most waves. Having the oh shit buttons in Yugu, Jelena, and your other 2 Arcanas makes this team especially consistent and reliable, even on heavy elite and boss stages. In fact, most of the difficulty from Yingying and Yugu comes from their out-of-combat preparation. The team composition and Crimebrands are rather specific and require specific knowledge. Seriously, this team is easy to play. Yingying lets you ignore most enemies, and so many answers to the actual threats. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of those team compositions. As far as that goes, let's start with Yugu. Yugu wants 3 Arcanas on her team. Yingying is 1. The second is a DPS Arcana of your choice. I would recommend Blue, or the new A rank. And the third Arcana should be a supportive unit like Hecate or Raven. Once you have Yugu and her 3 Arcanas, we'll add in Jelena. Yugu provides the crit chance, and Jelena provides all the crit damage. This setup enables any and all Arcanas to really shine. The thing is, we've already eaten 5 of our 6 available slots. Yingying, Yugu, Jelena, your DPS Arcana of choice, your support Arcana of choice. This leaves one last slot that we can flex between more buffs, like LL, more healing, like Hamel, or more core breaking, like Thistle and Labby. This last slot is the most flexible, so take whichever center works best for you. Shalom, Cabernet, Enfer, Duro, Zero, Donald, Gekobajin, it really doesn't matter. As long as they are in some way contributing to buffs, healing, or core breaking, it'll work out just fine. Quick little zoom into your support Arcana. I am recommending Hecate or Raven 95% of the time, because they provide core breaking and damage amp, both of which are very welcome. But if you find yourself not caring about cores, then you can also slide in Lamia. The ammo combos really well with Yingying and lets you slow burn entire maps. This is a very strong combination for more wave-based stages like Story, Mania Training, and ROTD. At the end of the day, we have 5 quote-unquote mandatory slots and 1 flexible slot. This team is very flexible in battle, but rather constrained out of battle. Again, we want Yingying, Yugu, Jelena, a DPS Arcana of your choice, a supportive Arcana of your choice, and 1 free flexible slot for any 6th center to join in on the fun. That was a lot of information, but again, you've got a little bit of freedom choosing your DPS and your supports, but they have to be Arcanas. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Crimebrands. There's a few powerful options that you'll be sharing between your DPS Arcana of choice and Yingying. You're looking at options like Judgment, which provides the most damage in a one-on-one boss fight, but loses all of its value as soon as waves appear. Judgment is the highest damage, but has limited use cases. After that, we have the combination of Tower and Arrival. These 2 Crimebrands will maximize your crit chance and provide the most consistent results. Since your 1st and 3rd slot are filled, City of Sins rounds out this combination very well. We can also look at Illusory Moon, which provides a solid damage output with flexibility for that 3rd Crimebrand slot. You can throw Arrival in here if you haven't used it previously, or fill that slot with Pioneer, Heavy Contamination, or Corridor Echo, whatever works really. Illusory Moon is the main draw, and that 3rd slot is just squeezing the last bit of juice. If you don't have any of these options, then I would recommend you default to Azura or Embrace the Dead. Embrace the Dead is a very generic DPS set that will hold you over until you get these more specialized crit Arcana sets. I also want to give a shout out to Against the Light. Against the Light is one of the strongest Crimebrands released so far, but it only works in like 3 centers: Blue, Wuhu Hanzi, and Shalom. If you're using any of those 3, then Against the Light is a powerful option that should be looked into. Okay, now that we've covered the DPS Crimebrands, let's take a look at Yugu. Yugu is highly specialized in that she's a support who does not use SP. Every other support runs THC, Tuning, Cope, and Corridor, because you want your supports to have so much SP that they feel bloated. Well, Yugu doesn't even have SP, so those classics don't work. Instead, we want to take a look at Oasis. Oasis is Yugo's best Crimebrand, and drastically increases the team's damage. We can fill out the other 2 slots with a few options. You can be boring and run Nightmare Revelation, which provides clear and easy benefits for the first 30 seconds of any stage. Or, you can run Fury and Primordial Maw. Fury will keep Yugu alive, and Primordial Maw will continue to provide energy even when your low core break team decides to completely ignore certain cores and kill those elites outright. If you don't need or don't have Primordial Maw, this can always be substituted for Rift Ballast for added tankiness. If you don't have any of these previously mentioned Crimebrands, I'd look into Host Name or Paradise Regained, so you're at least getting some value out of the Yugu Crimebrands, even if that value isn't always felt. Then, after all that, we still have more members. Jelena can either be running Tuning, Cope, and Corridor, or Shackles of Life. Shackles of Life does more damage, but is harder to play. Pick your favorite, they both work. Your support Arcana, most likely Hecate or Raven, should be running Tuning, Cope, and Corridor, or Heartache. Heartache does the most damage, but is harder to play. Pick your favorite, they both work. Your last slot entirely depends on who you pick, but the most consistent option would be Tuning, Cope, and Corridor. At the end of the day, pick whichever works best for that center of choice. If you're running like Shalom for core breaking, then you might want to run a damage set. If you're running like Che, you might want to run Heartache on him. If you're running Camel, you might want to run Healing or Paradise Regained. Like, there's so many options based on like that flexible 6 slot. It's your choice. Okay, looking at resource investment, Yingying is a bit greedy. She wants her first Shackle, and she wants her maxed out ECB 3. You can go for Yingying's 3rd and 4th Shackles if you want to, but anything past Yingying's 3rd Shackle is overkill. Though, let me tell you, the whales are eating good with Yingying. Looking at Yugu, Yugu is much more friendly to the community wallet. Yugu is perfectly fine at Shackle 0 and even ECB 0 or ECB 1, either or. If you have the soul marks to spare, then grab her ECB 3. It's worth it, but I know soul marks are hard to come by, and Yugo is strong enough at ECB1 that she doesn't need to squeeze the last bit of effectiveness from that ECB3 to be effective. It's good, but like, again, if you gotta cut corners somewhere, cut corners with Yugo. She can take it. As far as Jelena goes, Jelena likes her S1 and ECB3, but is honestly fine at S0 and ECB0 if you don't have the resource to commit any further. Your other units are more flexible and the resource investment will vary drastically. As far as the tier list is concerned, this team is strong enough to create a whole new tier. Yeah, I'm serious, this shit is busted. We now have a new tier above unrivaled power. We're going to call it the God Squad, and this will be held by whatever team is strongest at the time. One God Squad for Magic and one God Squad for Physical. We're currently putting Yingying and crew into the Magic God Squad, and we'll also promote weak spots into the Physical God Squad. They were in for promotion for a while now. Woohoo Hanzi, the A-rank counterparts, is a very respectable DPS and only suffers from a naturally small AoE. I'm putting her in the A and B ranks with great power section. She's a solid unit that can be added to the God Squad if you choose to use her as your DPS Arcana of choice. Again, there's a little bit of flexibility there. Alright, that's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoy the team. There was a lot to talk about here, as we're talking about all 6 members of a team instead of just one center. But I hope you've enjoyed. There's a lot of information here, and gathering all of these thoughts and all this footage took a lot of time. If you don't know, I recently started a new engineering job, and I gave up a whole weekend just to get this video out. I hope you all have enjoyed, and please let me know what you guys think of the new anniversary centers. Your interactions are what make all of this worthwhile. Alright, I'll see you all next time. We'll be working on Wuhanzi Showcase's Nest. Really excited to show what she's capable of. See you then. Peace.
And so, this triumph draws its curtain. But what fate awaits beyond? That is a tale for another time.